A big round of applause for the British government. They have achieved what Gary Gensler, Elizabeth Warren, and all these crazy people in the United States couldn't achieve over there. They've done it without fanfare and without any noise. They have managed to kneecap cryptocurrency across the country. Okay, so this is a bit of a rant video, not financial advice, your own research as usual. But you know how we're approaching the bull market now, or we're in the bull market. What happens now is I usually go in and start to, load up on some of these micro caps. So we're talking about tiny meme coins. We're talking about, tiny gaming coins. And in this season, AI coins, right? Just tiny projects that a lot of people might not have heard of. And because some of them are so new or some of them are so tiny, they are not listed, at least yet, on the big exchanges. And what you normally do is you go in and buy them on these little either tiny exchanges, or you do it via, DeFi, decentralized exchanges, right? But the British government, what they've managed to do is kneecap everything. So now that they've gone after Bitcoin, they couldn't ban Bitcoin. They've gone after the minds of people with a FUD, and that hasn't really shaken anyone. They've basically sent the banks after us, and we found alternatives. Again, I'll do another video on the kind of new moves that the banks are making, but this video is basically based on how the British government has managed to kneecap cryptocurrencies across the country by just putting legislation. That legislation that you've probably heard a lot of people talk about in the UK, that means that any cryptocurrencies that want to operate in the UK and offer services to people in the UK have to have a third party that basically recommends them, right? So what that does is basically put a blanket ban on anybody who isn't permissioned specifically by this hand-picked third parties, okay? It's longer than that, but that's the general gist of it. Let's, for argument's sake, say I wanted to buy Bonk, right? Bonk is a meme coin that sits in the Solana ecosystem. Now, Bonk is gathering a lot of heat now, and say you want to get in it, and you're in the United Kingdom, and you go to buy Bonk, you can't buy it on the big exchanges. You have to get it on like KuCoin or any of the smaller exchanges if you want to do a centralized exchange or do a swap, right? In DeFi. So on arriving at the Bonk site, you're presented with this massive okay, confirm. I hereby confirm that by accessing the white paper and other information materials, I will be deemed to have reviewed and accepted certain terms and therein, including confirmation that I am not based in a jurisdiction where such access would be prohibited or restricted in any manner. Of course, this never used to happen. All these websites now display these, you're not allowed to access this, or they give you this kind of nonsense where you're expected to click OK. So this is like a CYI for them, so that the government doesn't go after them. So these are the exchanges where you can buy Bonk at the moment, right? All right, so let's try something like Gate.io, right? Which would be a nice place for me to buy. You can't see that, but it says, please note that this website is not directed at UK persons, and we are not accepting new UK customers. Okay. So I can't use that. If I try to trade this, please note you're in the UK, sorry, you can go, eat an apple or something. So they won't let me in. So I go to Gecko Terminal and try and do some swaps from there. I try to do a swap. You can't really see this. Let me maximize that. It basically says something to the effect of access to this website is unavailable in the United Kingdom due to compliance concerns relating to rules and regulations promulgated by the UK Financial Conduct Authority. Users may withdraw liquidity from existing positions using this community-built tool. Please direct your questions to that. So basically, what they've managed to do is kneecap all of these services. And I've also noticed that on my phone, knowing that I'm in the UK, obviously, my ISP is starting to block some of these things. I went on my Phantom wallet, which is supposed to be a decentralized, non-custodial wallet, and I tried to access some things, and I couldn't get to them. I kept getting these blocked or refreshing, unable to refresh. Things that never used to happen. So I reckon they've coerced the ISPs to get involved. They've got the on-ramp and off-ramp platforms to get involved. I got an email again from a couple of my banks on the high street saying that they're restricting access to crypto. And what they've done is they haven't actually said outright that they're restricting access to crypto, but they've rug pulled me because my terms and conditions that I signed up for many years ago didn't include them being able to do this. So now they've changed the terms and conditions to say that they are allowed to restrict some of my activities, especially when it comes to crypto assets and digital assets, it says in the terms and conditions. And I'm supposed to accept that and go on with it. So we are facing a massive clampdown here in the UK. So what you guys are seeing in the US is out in the open, and it's in the legislative part of the government. We're seeing like bills being proposed and active rules being made. Here in the UK, the government is just going after the little guys, you know, the connections, the links, and kneecapping all of that. So that as a result of that, those platforms and companies themselves are self-banning, right? So they're not going to try and ban Bitcoin. They're not going to try and legislate against Ethereum or any of that. They're just going to make sure that you're not able to get to the platform where you can acquire them. And this is absolutely insane. Obviously, I'm a tech savvy person and I can get around most of this stuff, you know, by, you know what, but the average user of the internet, the mass adoption crowd, right? They are, you know, basically being shut out of the system. And this is going to affect mass adoption in the UK. And this is exactly what they want. I know some of this stuff is supposed to be protecting us from scams because, you know, there's a lot of scams, of course, especially in cryptocurrencies where you can get scammed and the scammer can disappear without notice. I can go to the bank now and I can take out my life savings if they let me, and I can go to a betting shop and put the entire thing on a horse. Not only is this allowed, it's tax-free. So it's not about protecting me per se. It's about protecting the banks, man. And that's all I'm going to say. No financial advice, no tax advice, no legal advice. Do your own research and wish us luck.